Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Did you miss RecFest? No, not breakfast. RecFest. It's like a carnival for recruiters. And it just happened the last couple of days. Brandon and I just got back. Brandon just got off the airplane like not that long ago. And um, we're excited to talk to you a little bit about it and kind of share our experience and kind of recap a little bit. But first, who the heck is this person that is in front of us? You probably already know them, way more famous than I am. Brandon Jeffs, founder of Building the Talent Machine, which is a company, I guess.
Maybe.
Maybe, I don't know, something like that. And to prove that, I will demonstrate by showing you a website. Ooh,
Look at
look at
that.
that. He's got a website and everything. So say hi. What's up?
What's up, Shally? It's awesome to be here, dude. Thanks so much for having me on. Glad we both got home safe.
Yeah. Remember that time we stayed in Hotel California together?
Always. You can check out, but you can never leave, baby.
What was that? ERE?
I think so.
Yeah. And we had fun singing it. Man, that
Yeah,
was
that
kind of
was
interesting.
ERE, and that was what, May?
Yeah, it was interesting because what's really interesting to me, and I've never done this before, is karaoke with a live band. It's not karaoke with like a teleprompter or uh, uh, you know, um, just microphone that's basically like just nothing but the background music. The band is live,
Yeah, it's
so
epic.
they like will riff if you pause or like miss the lyrics. They'll like riff with you and then start the stanza over and like yes, it was fun. It's actually kind of like singing with a live band. Anyway, so you were the only one that stood up and gave me some moral support there. I was in my little wheelchair. I was singing karaoke to a live band from a wheelchair.
So good. It's so good,
Um,
dude.
life is strange, isn't it? How it does that. But tell us a little bit about what is Building the Talent Machine, just for people that don't already know your famous self.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely not famous, but I appreciate the glow up. So, Building the Talent Machine, we are a content and creator studio that services the recruiting technology industry. I'm a recruiter myself. We fill recs. I source. I've worked in public, private equity, and startups the last 10 years, and I've built a career in this recruiting community, and I love it. I love storytelling. Recruiting is storytelling. So I got a podcast mic in a white elephant Christmas gift a few years back, and I said, "Screw it, we're starting a podcast." So building a talent machine is all about storytelling from talent leaders who have built the talent function or built a significant business group's recruiting function at a tech company. So I'm having fun. We do sponsorships on the show. It's a video show. We do content activations. We do some creative stuff that the industry has never seen before that I'm about to release. So I'm just having a good time. And of course, we do search. So if it's
Gotcha.
engineers, if it's go to market,
Okay.
like we'll take those recs.
But it's your show. You're not like helping other people launch their podcasts. It's not like that.
No, I do that just out of like, friends and family hitting me up being like, yo, how'd you do this? And it's like,
How
all
do
right,
you
I'll
do
give you the
this? How do you do
playbook.
that? And pointers. Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
no, this is my show. I'm the
call
host.
you. I'm gonna have to call you because this shows me. Can you believe this? Take a wild guess. I am absolutely terrible at self promotion because I don't even want to admit this. I hate even like just admitting it, but I don't really think about myself when I do these things. The show started out as a way to connect with people that were during lockdown, didn't have their usual interaction with colleagues at the office, and it started as a Facebook group. Then it grew. Then it became since we're all together, let's do some hacking, and that became let's have some guest speakers, and it just sort of evolved. And 312 episodes later, right? Take a guess how many different people have been guests on the show. The reason I'm telling you this is because I've never done this before because I'm such an idiot when it comes to self promotion that I never even went backwards to think, ooh, what can I brag about? Never even did that. So I just did that last week. Take a guess.
150.
That's pretty close. Oh my God. That's like
Uh, how
super
close?
close. So 173 now
Okay.
guests,
Okay.
separate guests, but that's because we've had some repeat offenders. There's been about 20 people who have come back a second time. It's been going on for a while now, right? 312 episodes. So we've had people that, 2 years later came back. So if essentially there's been 170 unique, you know, people present like talking on the show. And the other thing that I never calculated until last week, how many views, total views, do you think I have?
Total views over 150.
Over 320 episodes.
320
Yep.
episodes. Just give me a quick second because I can't do math in my head, man. And before coffee.
No math before coffee. Yeah, 331 episodes actually.
I think I'm gonna go like 2.9 million.
Nah, not even.
No, not
No,
even.
no.
Okay.
I was impressed with the number, but it's only about 12,000 views.
12,000 views.
But yeah, that's
Oh, got it. Sorry. Okay.
unique. Yeah, 12,000 unique people have viewed an episode,
Oh,
basically.
that's incredible. That's a
Which
great number.
I think is a pretty good number.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't even know if that's a legit number people track or whatever, but it's, from my YouTube statistics. So I'm like, hey, I should brag about that. That seems
No,
to
you should.
me like it's somewhat significant, you know?
I posted a video, or I did a video for a client, and it was off the shelf content where they, rent and, contract my video production team. So a guy with a
Uh-huh.
4K gimbal, they rent my image and likeness. I'm the subject. I do all the scripting, creative direction.
Got it.
And when I saw it, and I saw that it hit like 36,000 unique people off one video, I was like, this is crazy. This is like if Madison Square Garden was filled and we were like, hey, we're going to play you this video, New York City.
Right.
Um,
And they all
that's why
just
I
watched it.
yeah, that's why I don't
Yeah.
like really care about the metrics. And my whole thing is like
No, I
keeping a
never
genie
did.
in the bottle is because like even the emotional difference between getting 700 impressions to 1,000 impressions is so much different from if I get 7,000 impressions to 70,000 impressions on a post. I don't know what it is, and I wanna have conversations and talk to people, even
Right.
if I
Yeah.
reach one person or one person responds with a laugh if I drop a joke, which I do a lot, like,
That's
that makes
right.
my day.
Yeah, and to me it was this wasn't impressions, this was like viewers. Because I didn't even look at the impressions. I have no idea. It's
Yeah, I was
probably
thinking
like
like 3 million impressions, not unique viewers.
yeah, no, I didn't even look at that. I'm just this is very new to me. I mean, I've been doing the broadcast live, just kind of recording and and broadcasting, but never really kind of went back to do anything like that. So I could probably use your services. But anyways, we just got back from RecFest, which is in its I don't know third year or something like that, and it's a very different event. I'll give you my take on why I think it's so different because this was the first time I attended. And then you probably been there before, so I'll let you kind of chime in on that. But my reasoning for why it's different is because it's a lot, in my experience, a lot less pressure, much more casual.
Yeah.
Words, I felt like I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go to the sessions if I didn't want to. There are always four sessions going on in like four compass points of the event. I didn't have to walk the booths if I didn't want to. I felt like there was a lot more conversational. I felt like it was more of um, like a gathering rather than a conference. It's still a conference because there's still speaker sessions and their content and there's still booths and all that. But for me, it felt like that. So I don't know. What's your take? And is this your first or like
So, I think that's a good description. It's for folks that haven't been, it's outside under circus tents. You feel like you're at a festival. It's been going on in the UK for quite some time, so it kinda borrows that like England music festival vibe. And apparently, I haven't been to the one in England, but apparently it's like real rowdy over there. They drink all day. It's more agency focused. Here, it was more a collection of friends socializing, seeing the vendors loosen up a little bit, seeing
Loosen up a little bit, yeah.
newer faces on stages. I think Jamie Leonard and the team over at the recruiting events company do a really good job of putting people on. And he put me on the map a bit 3 years ago for their first RecFest in Nashville when they came to the US. I remember I saw something and I was like, this is cool, a recruiting festival. And I just started gassing it up online. And then Jamie hit me up and he was like, yo, can you speak? And I was like, what? I'm just like some goober. So this is the third year I've spoken. Last year I did a bunch of content for him doing like man on the streets. So I'm all over their social. I love the team there. And then this year I hosted RL 100, the first
Is that
day of the
before?
pre-conference.
Oh, okay.
And then my company works with clients and vendors in the space. So like one of my sponsors and clients is Built In. Another one is Findem. So I had 2 days
Got it.
booth activation with the gimbal. My boy Lucas was out there. He's like the guy with the mustache doing backflips in the little booty shorts. He's a riot. And then I spoke on stage and then hosted a fireside chat with the CEO of a company that I advise. So it was booked and busy.
I don't know about you, but I don't know very many people that are hopeful about the world of work. And I'd like to change that. My name is Marcus Mossberger, and I started the Hope at Work podcast, where you'll find two things. Number one, really interesting guests. And number two, innovative ideas about the future of work. Check it out.
Wow. So what was your big takeaway from the event? Like if you were to say, having come back from ERE or HR Tech or any of the other ones, and you wanted to sort of summarize it for folks, what would be your summary, your gist?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking. My whole
Zeitgeist.
the zeitgeist, yeah, the aesthetic of the conference.
Exactly.
So I've been at all the major conferences thus far. That's part of building the talent machine. We're doing this like neo analyst broadcast journalism style, attend the conferences, report back, upskill and uplift the recruiting industry.
Sounds extra pretentious. I love it.
Super pretentious. I barely have a degree in English as a first language. So any opportunity I have to sound pretentious, Shally, I'm going for it. I used to write for a newspaper. So
By the way, I mean that in the most respectful way possible.
Yeah. If you're not trying to sound pretentious as a recruiter in tech, like go do something else. No, the big takeaway for me, I'll be honest, I was very heads down against deliverables, so I didn't get a big 30,000-foot view of the conference because I was so laser focused. My calendar was literally stacked the entire time. I think like I had a chance to go to the restroom maybe once each day. But the takeaway for me and my experience
they were very nice, by the way, for outdoor porta potties. They were extremely swank.
They were swank. No, I think the takeaway is community, man. Like I talk a lot about community. It's probably one of the overused words in our vernacular, particular in B2B SaaS.
Okay.
The only thing I've heard that's probably more overused in recruiting tech than community is culture fit. But I felt a sense of community being there around my peers, friends. When you're in your 30s, it can be challenging to make friends as an adult. And coming out of the pandemic as a lifelong extrovert, I had appetite to make more work friends. I've been working as a recruiting team of one, like first recruiter into a startup. So the last few years for me is about community building, and it's honestly about friendship. So for me, the theme was friendship and being able to see other people make friendships. For example, there's like this group of women in the talent collective that Natalie Stones runs. Natalie's the head of events and community at Findem now. And there's like all these recruiter girlies that just have each other's back. And it's so sick. They're like making bracelets. They're doing happy hours and breakfasts, gassing each other up. Like I love it, man. So for me, it was all about friendship.
So really super social. Now, if you wanted to explore vendors, you would have had a chance to, right?
Yeah, there's a shit ton of vendors.
Yeah. And then if you wanted to see sessions, there was a lot continuous lineup of like the agenda. I mean, if I was to, I tried to kind of summarize the topics, and there was so many. I actually went into the Sessions app and I tried to do a filter to like which ones do I want to go to, because sometimes there were 4 at a time.
Yeah.
And other times they sort of staggered them. And so I did the thing where you choose topics. And I'm gonna read you this. Like, this is the choices of topics: AI and automation, analytics, assessment, budget, candidate experience, contingent labor, diversity, early career, employee engagement, well-being, mental health, future of work. And I'm still only like a third of the way through the
Holy
list.
hell.
And I was just like, I froze. I didn't even choose a topic from the list of things to choose from to filter the content, because I was like, yeah, hello.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming.
That's good feedback. Let's fly that up the flagpole to Jamie.
I mean, I think it's great. I think honestly, had I to do it over, I probably would have picked a track. Like Julia, she was the one that just commented here. She was the MC on one of the stages, and I think I probably would have just like stuck to that stage, because like that would help me filter the topics. But I mean, I tried to walk around a little bit, and it was a little overwhelming with a lot of choices, but it was definitely fun. Now, if I told you, do you know what the composition of the audience, or the attendees was? I
Yeah,
did
it's
some
more
analysis on that.
practitioner
Okay.
focused. That's something that I observed directly, and even my camera guy Lucas, because he's an amazing cinematographer. He's been with me on the road for all of these conferences this year.
And
It's
he
great to
noticed that
see
too.
him, and he was like, "Whoa, dude, this was crazy. We captured so much great content." And I was like, "Yeah, because it was more practitioners, and the difference
Right.
between a Vegas conference and RecFest is, it's $100 to get to RecFest. It's $1,000 to get into HR tech." And
Right.
that's exactly what we saw at HR Tech. It was just like marketers marketing to marketers. It was a big partnerships play. There were basically like no practitioners, whereas
People looking
every
for
single
funding,
person, yeah, every
people
person we
looking to
talked to at
establish. Yeah.
RecFest was a recruiter or somebody that's touched a rec in the last couple of
So
years.
1,600 attendees registered. I don't know if they actually all showed up. Obviously, not everybody, but 1,600 people registered. 50% of those were representatives, or as we would call them, delegates, if you will, of an employer.
It's great.
About 3% ish, 4% ish, some sort of independent unknown category, and about 46% were in the what I would call the vendor sort of space, if you will. Now, as far as roles, um, what I noticed, this is my own breakdown and analysis, right? About 45% of the people there were in straight up recruiting, functional recruiting, 45%. The second largest category was sales. Now, this includes GTM, go to market, growth, business development, VP of partnerships, all the roles that I know you don't want to admit that you're sales, but essentially your job is to, like, you know, get people to buy stuff. So
Yeah.
that's 21%. And 10% were founders of their own,
Okay.
either solo operators or startup founders or company founders or C-suite level, founders. So that's what, 40, 60, 70% of the population. About 10% were in brand marketing. So that was probably the lowest group of professionals being represented. Lowest as in smallest, because there were a lot more recruiting, 45%, than anything else. And then if you put like HR and operations and other related, not tactical recruiting areas, that would probably be about 5%. So that was kind of the composition, which I thought was pretty interesting. It's 45% frontline recruiting, like you said. It's a pretty big um, representation of the industry. Um, and level wise, only about 25% were individual. There were a lot of managers, 15
Okay.
to 16% managers, and about 10% in the director. No, sorry, 13% in the director. So, manager about 15, 16%, director about 13%, VP about 10%, and even chiefs, C-level people about 12%. So that's a pretty big uh, representation of like different levels. But a good quarter of the people were, if you map the recruiter and the individual, good quarter of the population were frontline recruiters, and that's pretty cool if that's the audience that you're trying to reach, and if these are your peers that you're trying to network with, stuff like that. So I thought that was some interesting, intel that I could share that might be unique perspective?
Yeah, no, that's legit. That checks out. I think there's a lot of folks in the recruiting space trying to build, and that's a net positive. I mean, even like my title, it says founder. Like I run a media company. Like you can call me
Yeah,
a founder, like whatever. It's just it's whatever. Like I'm a guy that does a content studio and I've got opinions because I'm a recruiter, but I
founder,
work.
solopreneur, whatever you want to call it. But yeah,
Yeah, so I think the attribution there is interesting. Bloated sales teams for sure. I've seen a lot of great recruiting tech companies and founders that have strong revenue that do not invest in booths. So sorry, Jamie. Like, I think you do a great job. It's awesome that people show up. You're running a business. You doing this allows us to do it. So there's so much gratitude, but you don't have to necessarily buy a booth in order to have an impact. And I see a lot of founders that just like pound the pavement at these conferences and they just have a different approach. But there is a false positive of the state of the market. So if you are a practitioner, maybe you're that IC and you go to the recruiting conference and it's the biggest recruiting conference in the world. And you don't see a company, there is a noticeable impact when those brands are not there. So I'm
that's
texting my friends
interesting.
that work at those companies and it's like giving them that intel.
You
But
kind
at
of
the end
got
of the
to
day,
show
like
up,
you kind of have to, but you also kind of don't. It depends on your ICP. And I think what we're
right?
seeing is, especially in the ATS market, is over the next 5 years, the market cap is going to expand by 2 to 3x of its current value. So if we go from about
Spleen.
to 2.5 billion market cap for the ATS market. There are estimates that it's going to get to 6 billion in the next 5 years. So there's
Oh, just ATS.
diversification,
Oh, okay.
just ATS. So what
Okay.
that means is like if you're on stage and you're looking out, it's like, well, what does 2 to 3x the volume of half the vendors look like? So what's happening is vendors are niching down, and as a result of niching down, it's harder to understand if that 50% of the attendee list is within your ICP. So
Oh,
there were vendors that were absent that have their own conferences. And instead of investing, 50,
right,
60, 70,
right.
$100,000, I mean, like, what is it to go to HR tech? $1 million. They can just throw their own party and invite the exact people they want. So there's a lot of ways to skin a cat when it comes to biz dev, and the way buyers buy software is changing. But it's also good to remember that like this stuff is so cheap at the end of the day. Like we're talking
Right.
about like software that costs 10, 20, $30,000 a year. Like that's nothing compared to other business groups' tech stacks.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. Well, I said we were going to recap, not deep dive. So I think we kind of exceeded our welcome there. And I did have actual questions for you
We can
from
keep going,
before.
man. I'm down.
I know we could, but this is about you. It's not about RecFest. It's about you. You're in the hot seat. And I don't know if you knew this, but we do have something very interesting in common. We both turned down Google, but I have a feeling in different ways, and obviously for different reasons. But you did turn down Google, and that's a lot of recruiters' dream badge, if you will. What was going on in your head, man? When you
Honestly,
chose startup chaos over corporate prestige, and what does that what does that say about you
I'm a builder.
or
I
how you define
love
success? Yeah.
I love to build. And how I define success is by understanding exactly how I want to spend my time. And the difference between recruiting in big tech versus startups is in startups, you get to have your hand in a lot of different cookie jars. A recruiter in big tech, they've got large teams supporting them.
Okay.
And every role that I've had, even in public companies, private equity companies, like I've been able to have basically a major of recruiting and a minor in something else. And that is employer brand, systems and operations, talent management and mapping based on my leveling and how I grew my own skills. So if you go into big tech to be a recruiter, like you're going to be a recruiter, you're going to be booked and busy talking to candidates, doing first round screens with people that already know about your brand. It's their dream job anyway. You're just pushing a process. And you probably have a employer brand team, a sourcing team, a rec ops team, maybe a talent partner who does more of the strategic work with that business group's decision maker. You've got coordinators. So it just looks differently than sharing a title. So Google specifically, who didn't want to work for Google? They were like the hottest shit in the 2010s. Every other company decided to mirror their people operations and recruiting processes after Laszlo's book. And at the end of the day, like, it's easy. Like, people want to work, people want an easy job. Like, it's easy to recruit in big tech. Like, cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bills, y'all. If you're recruiting in big tech, it really just comes down to getting the right level and the right offer to convert a candidate who's already aware about your company. They already want to work there. I know people that have worked at Google. I have friends that have recruited at Google. Great people that are in my texts. Love y'all to death. Who doesn't want an easy job? I wanted a challenge. And the whole reason I was going to work at Google is because I wanted to leverage that whole ex-Google thing that people are obsessed with.
So you literally were like, I want to work here. So when they interviewed, why do you want to work at Google? I want to work here so when I leave, I can put ex-Google on my resume.
Literally, I want to work at Google so I can quit. Because I wanted to go. I wanted to have like a very meta role, which is exactly what I did and what I'm doing now, which is like play a role in the recruiting tech space because I'm a practitioner. And so I turned down Google. It was $190K first year comp with a $20,000 signing bonus. I had two offers. One was if I was going to drive the hour to Boulder to be in person, and a less offer if I was going to work remotely from the cattle ranch where I live. And I said, kick rocks, y'all. And I went and worked at a Series A ethical AI startup in the recruiting tech space, pre-Chat GPT that exited. And the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, it was definitely very different. I was early on. I was there pre-IPO and helped grow the companies. I ended up there as a contractor and helped, basically create sourcing for them. This was very, very, like I said, pre-IPO, so very early on. But they wanted me to stay on permanently full time, and I turned them down in exchange for a job at Microsoft, which was a lot more challenging and exciting. So it looks like same reasons in a way, except for Microsoft would not be a startup in that definition, but it was the opposite. Google was the startup, Microsoft was the not startup, but what they were doing was a lot more interesting, exciting, and had a global scale. So it's a little bit different.
Did you go to Microsoft because they would allow you to be a jerk there?
No, they did not allow that.
So you were. What was
I thought they would. No, they wouldn't. No.
What was the pin that like early Microsofters used to have? It was FUIM. It was like FU I'm vested or something. There's like some story about like the early Microsoft folks that literally had a pin that said they were fully vested.
I did not know that. No, I was there after. I mean, it was 25 years old, the company, when I joined. Yeah, so 2005, 6, 7, around that time. When you get to be my age, some states just sort of blend together.
Yeah.
But it was an interesting. A lot of people thought I was swimming upstream, like against the current, because people were leaving Microsoft to go to Google, and here I was leaving Google to go to Microsoft, which is almost the opposite of what people are doing. But I had my reasons, and it's very similar to your reasons, just not because of the startup, but because of other stuff, and the way that I defined success for myself at the time. So parallel, but interesting, different angles, same perspective, kind of, right? Now, people, I don't know if you call yourself this or people call you the Kevin Bacon of recruiting. What is the connective tissue that you think makes people link in our industry? And how do you intentionally do that?
The the connective link is two things: empathy and optimism. Before I got into recruiting, I followed my passion. I lived a lot of life. My first job out of school in the Great Recession was driving a forklift outdoors in a lumber yard, running a saw in upstate New York. I have an indoor job where I get to wear slippers. So I traded in my steel toes The irony is the best piece of swag I got at RecFest was a Dickies jumpsuit with some like SaaS vendor. And it's like, raise your hand if you've ever worn a jumpsuit. Like I used to
I didn't see
wear.
that. I was in the wrong booth. I would have picked one of those up.
Oh, dude, it's money. I'm gonna rock it on the podcast all the time because, like, literally, my
Damn.
first job out of school was wearing like a Carhartt jumpsuit and freezing my ass off, drinking out of a Stanley thermos that rattled around a truck. And now it's like Carhartt and Stanley's in vogue for software types. And I think what that taught me from my first jobs I had as a kid, the upbringing that my parents instilled in me, is a lot of empathy and understanding that people have lived a variety of human experiences. And if we can connect with that in different ways through empathy, understanding, a perfect example, Shally, is all of this talk about like the 996, 712 culture. People online are
What?
so angry
Hold on
that
a second.
folks.
Run that past me again. I did not catch
So the 996 work culture is working 9 to 9, 6 days a week. So
Oh.
7, 6 or 7 12s. And it's basically just talking about people are angry that companies have these grind work cultures. Well, the reality is poor people
work yourself to death is kind of what
work
you're
themselves to death as well, and they have
Yeah.
2 jobs. And young people are working 70 to 80 hours. They're doing something 78 to 80 hours a week anyway, so why not work for the potential of life-changing equity? I had to work 80 hours when I was 23 years old just to pay the bills, and there was no equity associated. So
Yeah,
I think empathy is huge, and then optimism. Like, the next great candidate is one phone call away. Like, if you're a recruiter, like, show me you can source a candidate that does not have a digital profile. That's a recruiter. So in order to do that, you've got to pound the phones, you got to pound the pavement, you got to have optimism, you got to hype yourself up. And then the Kevin Bacon line is somebody told me that because I'm like a super connector and I literally know everybody, man. It's crazy because I
friend of a
have
friend of
been.
a friend of a friend.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the deal there.
Instead of LinkedIn, it's linked Jeff's.
Sure, man. Let's roll. It's Finkton. It's Finkton. No, kneel and kiss the ring. That's my whole thing. The reason I'm doing this, Shally, is because I started going to conferences and I'd see these folks that had like 100, 200, 300,000 followers on whatever social platform.
Yeah.
And they didn't know who Jerry Crispin was. And that's a problem.
Interesting.
So if you're going to talk about recruiting and you don't know who the powers at B are or who the folks that came before you, if people don't know who Shally is, if people don't know who Steve Levy is or Dean DaCosta or Carmen Hudson, that's like
it's the giants on whose shoulders we all ride. Yeah. Well, I guess it's easy to forget or maybe not even pay attention to that when you're just getting started.
No. It's easy to sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh, that's also
online.
True. Yes.
Sorry for the F-bomb.
I have no idea what you're talking about. The popularity of career advisors on Instagram that tell you what to do to get the interview and write your resume and stuff like that. And you listening to what they're saying. It's like, I can't do this.
Well, we could talk about that. So there's a lot of this whole, like, why do we coach the market? Why is there an entire market online on YouTube for how to get a job at a FANG company?
It's just entertainment, I think.
Yeah, and when we think about what we did during that time, so why does the XYZ formula for a resume exist? Well, it exists for 2 reasons. One, because when Laszlo Bock was building Google and deployed that methodology for advice, they were training the market. At the same time, they were managing operational expense so that a fleet of recruiters could manage a high volume of inbound resumes. They were training the market to say, hey, this is what we want your resume to look like, so that our recruiters can read it in 90 to 120 seconds. So they're doing 2 things at once. And so now all of this resume advice, it's going to change because the world of work is evolving and the way people get jobs is evolving. And we're actually going to see a world in which people get hired without resumes pretty soon. So all of this advice stuff is going out the window. All the SEO ranking around it is
I know that.
I
hear that, but how are we going to start hiring without resumes? I mean, I wish that were true.
Can I tell you?
Yeah, please, because I've been trying to kill the resume for years. It's about time for it to die.
So this is how the resume dies. The resume dies because we are in this nascent stage of LLMs. We're almost 3 years into ChatGPT, and I'm disenfranchised. I thought we were going to live in like this science fiction future. We thought it was going to be more evolved than it is. But what are LLMs really good at now in this state? Words. Resumes are full of words. Job descriptions are full of words. Humans are full of words. So LLMs are advanced at natural language processing. The way we hire without resumes is this. Shally, you're hiring 10 software engineers to build something in TypeScript. You're going to build a front-end application for a B2B SaaS app. Go ask those 10 incumbents exactly what they do for 45 minutes. They feed that into the LLM. Then every candidate has the opportunity to describe their work history as it relates to that work to an agent in 45 minutes at the very top of the funnel, because there is an infinite amount of efficiency from AI interviewing agents. You're then matching the way people describe their experience to the experience of the job. And this is like evolved performance-based job description type work here, where we're focused on the outcomes of a role, which recruiters should be asking in intake, versus years of experience, companies worked for, etc. And then the evolved state is the agents and the internet will know all of this information about us through assumption. So if you were the one software engineering recruiter at a certain company for specific dates, because LLMs are good at research, they will know and be able to say like, oh, we're 95% confident Shally A was the person that built that company, and B, here's the story based on the post-hire outcomes of the people he placed. And that, to me, is how we evolve hiring without resumes.
That logically makes sense. What you're saying about LLMs definitely checks out. What makes me hold back on thinking about that, and I know we both agree that would be an ideal situation if we didn't have to deal with these resumes, because basically resumes are nothing but just marketing documents that don't really reflect a whole lot.
So is a
Here's
JD.
the problem. Exactly. Yeah, right. But you can hire people without a JD. It's still people that hire without a JD or job posting still want to see resumes. And this construct of a resume was a summarized version of a curriculum vitae, which was a presentation document that lists your job history. And the reason that we needed this summary was because we had too many applicants. So essentially, a resume was a way that was created to eliminate candidates. In other words, let me just not mince words. Resumes are specifically, the intent and purpose and use of them is to eliminate you. That's what they're for. That's what they were designed for. That's why employers ask for them. They're not asking for your resume to include you. They're asking for your resume to exclude you. And so what you're describing is the opposite of that. It's including people for the right reasons, which is the diametric opposite of what we're doing. So in order to go that way, we'd have to literally 180 our thinking and include people as opposed to exclude them. As long as we're looking to exclude them, we're going to be relying on this easy, I can look at this for 10 seconds, see that you don't have the right job title, and send you a rejection letter, because that's what we've been doing, and that's what they're for. So you're not going to get rid of, sadly, you're not going to get rid of something that's being used to exclude people by giving them something to include people.
Yes, but this goes back to the whole Laszlo Bock training the market in this XYZ statement for the resume to shift from that original CV model into more of that marketing document that you said, so you can talk a little bit about the work you've done. But I think the feedback I have on my experience hiring the last few years working with like director plus placements into early stage startups is the founders I work with, the first thing they want is the LinkedIn profile. They don't want a resume. They want to know.
Right. Resume, LinkedIn profile.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I think they're different because the LinkedIn profile, like, there is a false positive as well. If you have a great LinkedIn profile that you are, have more skills, have more experience, more aligned. It's all the way candidates present and pitch themselves. And an example of this would be like, I've interviewed pretty much all the SDR AE influencers out there. I've gone and poached them over the years, they're actually not that impressive. Some of them are, but some of the least impressive sales folks are the ones that have these inflated profiles where they look super visible, or maybe they've got that
Yep.
like engagement
I see what you're
pod,
saying.
and it's like, actually, like, let's go find a person who has different behavioral traits than just having a shiny LinkedIn profile.
Or whatever profile or resume or whatever. Yeah, I get you.
And then on the technical side too, you have founders who are like, oh yeah, I don't want to interview any software engineers that haven't, had a commit on GitHub in the last 6 months.
Well, see, that's a fallacy because, well, you're shaking your head up and down. You probably know what I'm about to say. They may not have any public commits. They're private.
Or they're busy. They're doing their
Or they're
job.
yeah, or they're using some other Git. They're using, so there's a billion reasons for that. The most common one, as I was in that space, is the fact that they do have published works, but they're password protected. You can't see them for a reason. I mean,
That's actually
open
true with
source doesn't
creative.
mean open source doesn't mean here you can have it. I mean, you still, anyway. But I just realized that you're in the tech sector, so in other areas where that may not necessarily, the chat GPT describe your job kind of analogy thing may not resonate with people. There's others as well. For example, I think the extended trial, the pro tem period, the like, let me do the job for a week and I'll show you what I can do, capabilities wise. Like, that's another way to hire people without needing to have a resume.
Oh yeah.
Try
I
before
love
you
that.
buy, or internships, or cooperatives, apprenticeships. There's all these other ways that don't require this one page, document that's basic. Yeah, I'm preaching.
I come
to
from the
converted.
restaurant industry, Shally, and if
Make
you
me
get
an omelet.
hired, if you get hired in a kitchen, like you stage. Like if you're going to be a line cook, if you're going to be a sous chef, like you stage, you work for free. I love that.
Yeah,
In
here, make
tech,
me an omelet. Let me see what you can do.
yeah, or it's like, look at our menu, add something to it. I love that pressure. Here's the thing. This ties into skills-based hiring. People want to talk about skills-based hiring all the time, except for when it's time to pay
Hire.
a vendor to administer it. Or if you're a candidate, prove that you got them. And that's what I
Got it.
love about that humanity element of being in a kitchen, be like, okay, I'm going to cook something. If I don't cook something great, if I don't, work an evening shift for free, I'm not going to get this job. Now in tech, where there's money oozing out of
There's other ways to
ears,
do it.
there's other ways to do it. And I
Yeah.
think one of the ways to do it is this like contract to hire or
Yeah.
fractional to hire, which we're seeing more nomenclature around. So there's tons of ways to hire folks, but it comes down to what do candidates want to do and how bad do they want it.
That's a good point, and that's aside the point. I think that the resume death, and now, unfortunately, we have resuscitated the resume in the form of a LinkedIn profile. So when I say kill the resume, I'm also saying kill the LinkedIn profile in a way. I would love to be able to see content on LinkedIn that's more about what it is that you do versus this kind of like artificial storyline.
Dude,
right?
tell me about it. I spent all this time and money producing these like killer 4K videos, flying my video guy out, having a blast. And then I'll do like a shower thought post that goes viral. And then like the shittiest algorithm engineers in the world work at LinkedIn. So it's like, great. Now I've got to wait 4 days before my next post, because if you have a viral post, they dock you for your next posts. And
I
then
noticed
like,
that.
it's not like Twitter or TikTok.
Yeah,
You can't
if you have a
post
hit,
stream of
your next one
conscious.
better not be a hit.
Yeah, it's like, why are
So
we doing this? And they don't pay creators.
no.
I don't know.
Imagine
So
if you could sell ads on your own profile. I'd be rich. I'd be so rich.
Who says you can't?
You can't sell ads on LinkedIn, on your LinkedIn.
Define ad, baby.
Well, you know what I'm saying as far as like the way they do it. They are selling ads on your profile.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm
No, I'm
talking
going out to LinkedIn Connect next week, so we'll have this conversation in person.
about. Let's do that.
Sorry to any software engineers that work at LinkedIn on the algorithm. It sucks.
It's not your fault. It's humans. I wrote about that. Yeah, there's a post about that, about why it's really not necessarily the algorithm itself as much as the way we humans use it. But anyway, you were talking about video, which actually is a really good segue to one of my other questions. in your videos, you make recruiting look cool, which is basically sorcery.
Hi, this is Stacey Harris.
And this is Terry Zipper, and we're the host of the 2 podcasts under the HR Huddle.
On Spilling the Tea on HR Tech, we uncover the latest trends, truths, and challenges from Sapient Insight Group's groundbreaking research and our analyst insights, serving up everything you need to know about HR tech with no sugarcoating.
And on HR We Have a Problem, we tackle the toughest workplace challenges head on, offering you expert advice and actionable solutions to help HR leaders thrive in today's fast-changing world. Whether you want the scoop on tech or tools to solve people problems, we've got you covered.
Take a listen and subscribe. If you want to become part of our community, we'd love to see you.
I think it's cool. It's super fun, dude. I'm primed. I told people this on stage in my
Yeah,
talk.
but how do you do it? Like what I'm saying is,
how do I make recruiting?
How do you
look
make
cool?
recruiting look so cool? Because the average person, and I'm not saying you're by any means average, but what I'm saying is a typical person that's going to go out there and create content, it's going to have a hard time making recruiting look cool.
I'll tell you how I do it. It's this. I've been a solid B+ at everything I've done in my life with
So will you
minimal
script it?
minimal effort. And here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
I'm happy being B+. The delta to become A, to go from B+ to A- to A, is not worth the effort. I am able to deliver value to clients when it comes to recruiting. I'm a baller recruiter. You need somebody, like, I'll go do it. I will work that to death.
Yeah,
but
you
everything
can do
else,
a great job. You don't have to be the best to do a great job, right?
Exactly.
I tell people that all the time. It's like you don't have to be the number one recruiter in the world. If you're the number one recruiter in SaaS in Atlanta, that's pretty darn good.
Dude, exactly.
If you're one of the top 10 in SaaS in Atlanta, so yeah, I get that. But the
Brian Fink, Fink is the best recruiter in the world. I'm never going to be Brian Fink. But if I hang out with Brian Fink, like, I can be a great second fiddle to Brian Fink and learn enough to be dangerous. And that's like the only reason I'm here in front of you today, is because I'm like good enough, and the stuff that I suck at, I'm like good enough at the good stuff that the stuff I suck at doesn't matter. That's startups, dude.
But I want to drill down a little bit more and get to like this ingredient, right? So the secret sauce.
It's taste.
So
it's taste. I'm a millennial sneakerhead who loves art and culture. And because I'm B+, I wasn't good enough at music to be a professional musician. I wasn't good enough at marketing to go be a creative.
Do you script them? Are they spontaneous, or is it editing? Is it unfiltered? Is it like, tell me, and maybe you don't want to reveal the secret, but tell me, is it scripted and you just put it down and it works because you got to be script that it works, or is it you do a lot of editing and make a F into a B when you edit, or kind of like, where's that step?
We don't make
Please, because I need to figure it out.
because I don't use Facebook. And no, I have to give a tremendous amount of credit to my cinematographer and my editing team. My cinematographer is named Lucas Lacey. He is probably somebody you've seen on tour with me if you've been out on the conference circuit. And he's incredibly talented. He is a ex-parkour athlete, shattered his kneecap. Ouch. Instead of going to stunt school, he went to film school, picked up a camera, started filming parkour. And he just graduated school in May. We started working together in March. So it's an investment. My company, Building the Talent Machine, is a very real content marketing studio. Mm-hmm. We will deliver value for the recruiting tech industry better than any other company on Upwork, any other local studio, because we have knowledge of the space. And that's the differentiator, is I've got 10 years of recruiting, Shally, to know what moves people around recruiting. I have insights. I have informed opinions. That's why clients want to work with me, because it's not enough to just hire some studio team in New York to come out and film your CEO.
Yeah, overproduced video is not, it doesn't work anymore. So there's
the script is off the cuff, or sometimes it's read.
Okay,
and
so
if I'm doing a
unscripted,
voiceover,
off the cuff, good production value, but not Hollywood studio, right?
That's, okay. And companies need three things. They need 4K professional video production, on-air talent, and distribution. Okay. We do all three.
Nice. Last question, because I know we're getting pretty close to time here on the questions that I had for you. We have this humor thing in common. We both use humor as a a bit of
Coping mechanism.
exactly, or also Trojan horse that helps with breaking the ice um, and it takes a little bit. I know sometimes I miss with my humor and I go too far one way or the other. But do you see humor as a recruiting strategy, a brand amplifier, or um, rebelling against beige?
D, all of the above. Life is too short
Okay.
to work on. Life's too short not to work on cool
Humor
problems
and
with
recruiting
interesting pieces.
strategy, humor for brand, humor for rebellion, and
Yeah, dude,
okay.
like I go to recruiting conferences. Like I'm out at HR Tech in a tie-dye shirt and cowboy boots, and Lucas is there in booty shorts and a tank top, and it's at HR Tech, and people are like, "Who are those people?" It's all brand.
That was me. I used to wear shorts at these conferences, and people thought I was crazy. But
Yeah.
it's because I wanted to wear shorts. Um,
And then here's the thing, it's recruiting. You know why it's recruiting, Shally? Because I got that boyish skin tone. When I do recruit those early career sales folks, Gen Z, they think I'm one of them. I'm 38 years old, dude. I'm the only influencer you'll ever meet that doesn't have social media. I am so
Gotcha.
lucky that I get to wear slippers instead of steel toes and talk to people for a living.
And so, like, legit, straight talk on the humor. If you make a mistake and you offend someone with the humor, it's almost like, okay, hey, look, sorry, I didn't mean to offend, but like, I'm trying something here. So
Oh yeah, and
don't over like. I think people sometimes get to in recruiting, they're like, I don't want to offend anybody, so I'm not going to even try to be funny.
no one
Okay,
orders milk toast at brunch.
there you go. Okay, that makes sense. Got to have that crawfish pie with etouffee and yeah, milk
I'm a
toast.
green juice boy.
Milk toast. Where did you even get that from, man?
Wordplay.
Milk toast. All right. Well, I gotta let you go, but before I let you go, I gotta give you two questions that everybody gets. The first one,
Let's do
nobody's
it.
gonna get away with coming to the show, and that is, who should be our next guest?
Your next guest.
It doesn't mean they'll accept my invitation, but who should I
Oh
invite?
yeah. Let's play tag here.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Let's
You know
pass the
who's
tag along.
you know who would be really good actually as a next guest is my homie Nate Wiley. Do you know Nate?
No.
Nate runs a recruiting company called Infinite Talent. He is an amazing technical recruiter. He built data science team at Lyft. He's super legit dude. He's in the South as well. He's not too far
Okay.
from you. I think he's in Raleigh, North Carolina. So you should
Wiley, like
have
Wiley Press or whatever.
yeah. It's WYLIE. He was at RecFest. So hit up Nate for sure.
Okay.
Got to shout him out. He's such a good dude.
We'll do.
Also a veteran. So thank you for your service, Nate. And then, man, I'm coming to Atlanta. I'm actually doing a road trip. I'm starting something,
Come
and I'm going to
visit.
be Atlanta, Asheville, Nashville. We'll be back down there.
Come visit. You got my number. Come hang out, or let me know when you're here, and I'll show you around a little bit. All right. And then the last question is for folks that watch this as a replay, and I want them to be able to do something for themselves. Like, give us something to ask ourselves that's introspective. So, what should we ask ourselves about your subject matter that you're passionate about, or anything that you're passionate about, that we should ask and answer for ourselves?
Ask why you do it. Before you log on and sleuth the internet and start setting your sequences, before you book your calendar with 6 to 8 screens a day, things that are just the daily rhythms of what it takes to be a recruiter, ask yourself why you're doing it. I know why I'm recruiting because a recruiter gave me an opportunity and I was able to advance myself in my career, have financial security. I used to live paycheck to paycheck. I used to work in a homeless shelter. I used to not know what I was going to do with my life. And recruiting found me because of a recruiter. And it has been the most fulfilling path that I could have never chosen for myself.
Why do you do it? Yeah. So instead of WTF being, whiskey Tango Foxtrot, it would be more like why Tango Foxtrot? I like that. Why Tango Foxtrot? Why the F do you do it? I like that. Sweet, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Hey, this was awesome. We are right at 2:00, and so we gotta turn things over to the airwaves. But I'd love to have you back, and definitely please hit me up when you're down here.
Yes, absolutely.
sure.
Thank you for having me on the show. I came in a little hot and a little spicy from the trip. I'm glad you got
Love it.
home. That
Love it.
sun must have been getting to me.
It was to me too. Yeah, folks, not tomorrow, next Friday, we have Ashley Surratt. You probably recognize the name. So she'll be our guest next Friday. Hope to see you back here. Until then, be kind to yourselves. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye bye.